Trainspotting it wasn't your first film, but it was really the film that made the world discover Danny Boyle, okay? And then there were a whole lot of other films which were, this genre which doesn't work for me. Let's put it like that. So what is the kind of movies you make? And then in 2004 you made this wonderful movie called Millions, which I'm not even sure a lot of people have heard of.
I'm sure they haven't. No.
But it's easily one of the most beautiful films you've made.
Oh, thank you. What I try to do each time is I try to start as naively and innocently as possible on a subject, and that's why I tend to, people say, a genre hop, because the danger with being a filmmaker is that you learn how to do it. And that technique, and it's not necessarily a good thing for telling a story sometimes. What you want is heart, really, more than cunning, And so I try to do something very different, and I try to start from the bottom and learn as we go along as you make the film, so it becomes a real journey. And I've done that with a number of films, and it means that sometimes you make a horror film, which you probably don't like. And sometimes you make a very personal film like Millions. And sometimes you come to an extraordinary city where you've never been before and say, how can we do this? People imagine, you get these nominations and you imagine you're a big director and all those kind of things. But actually, I was at school here. I was at school here learning how to make a film. And I think that's a wonderful place to be. Because although maybe it's not perfect, there's something in it that's got a wide-eyed wonder about it. And I love that in cinema, when it's wide-eyed. When it pushes your eyes open. When
you read Simon's script,
yes,
what is it that made you say, this is the film I want to do next, given that it would be quite a challenge?
It's like a stray dog picks you as its owner. You get chosen by a film. It's weird. It's happened to me once before on Trainspotting, where I read the first page of the book, and I knew, it's 380 pages long, but I read that first page and I thought, I'm going to make this film. So there's something going on, there's something organic that you have to trust going on with your instinct. You can't quite rationalise, but it's valuable, and I've always trusted it, and it's usually benefited me. If you want to look at it rationally, you'd say that Simon's attempt to give an impression of the city in the first 15 pages is probably what enticed me, because I'm a city junkie. I love cities,
Clearly you saw deprivation, you saw hunger, you saw poverty, you saw hardship, you saw horrible things. As a filmmaker, how do you stay focused? How do you not get involved with the reality of the context you're shooting?
I think, to be honest, all filmmakers are magpies, really. We take bits of people's lives and use them for stories. We do it in all sorts of contexts. Sometimes it's more morally debatable than other times, and you do feel morally, is this right to be doing what you're doing? You do, but you also have to say, nothing should be excluded from films. Everything should be allowed into films. And so, therefore, the stories should happen everywhere. And I'm a great believer in the underdog, in people who don't apparently have much to offer, or the world doesn't appear to value them very much. I come from a very simple background, a working class background in Britain, and I've got to a position where someone from my background would normally never get. So my heart is really in that story.
So you're saying that as a filmmaker you don't feel exploitative, instead you're optimistic that the film and the stories you tell will be, engendering, let's say, more compassion or better understanding and hope. Is that the way you see it?
I believe so. I don't expect everybody to believe that. And I can understand people thinking that filmmakers do exploit where they come from. I think you have to find some kind of responsibility, maintain some kind of responsibility. And they're gestures, obviously, because you can't go directly into people's lives. And like the two of the kids who are from very poor backgrounds in this film, we've put them into school, and we're trying to keep them at school until they're 16. Because, in 5 years' time, the film is history, it's forgotten, but their lives go on, and you want them to have gained something from the film in the way that we gained from them. Their performances are wonderful.
If we jump cut from Mumbai in January to LA in February, what is the Oscar nomination? What is this incredible success you're seeing with this film? How is that going to sort of change things for you?
I know what I'm best at, is working on this kind of scale of film, which is, it's not a small film. We had like £6-7 million to make the film, which is a lot of money, even though in comparison to other movies, it's in the West, it's quite a limited budget. But those are the films I like making, and then I like to get a group of people around me, and I try to inspire them to make the film as big as possible, to make it look like $100 million. And those are the films I'm better at. What I know I'm not good at is making the $100 million film look like $105 million. So I'll tend to stay in this kind of arena, really.
But will the $100 million films and the studios come knocking at your door now? How does it work? I'm trying to get a sense.
Yes, it does
of
work like that, definitely. And they definitely do that. But I don't live in Los Angeles. I live in London. And I'm very delighted to live there. It keeps me kind of away from some of the daily pressures that certainly people face in the middle of that industry there. And it also allows you to think widely about what you might do, you know. So I'd love to make another film here. I'd love to make a thriller here. I really would. I'm not just saying that. I think it's an amazing city for a thriller. We'll see what can happen about that. I'll keep my fingers crossed on that. I've uncrossed my fingers about the Oscars, you know, because it's an extraordinary thing to get 10 nominations, and I'm so delighted for everybody here because it allows a finale to this journey we've been on making the film. And sometimes you make films and there's no finale. They kind of fritter away and they sort of just disappear.
Danny Boyle, we wish you great success, and we really look forward to the next film you do, whether it's in Mumbai or wherever else it is set in the world. But we so look forward to it. We also look forward to the awards, but really it's the next movie that we wish you. Thank you for your time.
Thanks
All the very best.
Very nice to meet you.